The following is a presentation of the Matt Talk Podcast Network.
The mind of Pat Popolizio is a wondrous thing. And for you Pac wrestling fans, you'll get to go inside the mind of the Skip each and every episode here on the Pac Mentality Pop-Ins podcast. Now, here's your host, NC State Director of Athletics Digital Communications, Ryan Reinhardt.
We flipped that calendar to June. No summer months off here. So welcome to a brand new episode of the Pac Mentality Pop-Ins podcast. I'm your host, NC State Director of Athletics Digital Communications, Brian Reinhardt, and I'm joined for the second straight summer episode of his own podcast by the head coach of the Wolfpack, Pat Popolizio.
Afternoon, Brian. It's good to see you here in Raleigh. Figured you'd be gone for a month or two.
No, back here, back working. I came armed with notes, no flash.
I know, I see that. Very organized.
I know. I feel good. We got a lot to cover.
It looks like it. What do you got, 3 pages there?
I only get you on this podcast once a month now, so I got to make, we got to get our monies out of you.
With 15 font there, we need to get you glasses.
But double space too. But the 2019 spring semester has ended. Summer 1 currently going on. Summer 2 right around the corner. So I have to start off by asking you, any big summer plans that don't involve wrestling? Do you get any time to disconnect and recharge your batteries?
We are officially a year-round sport, Brian. So to answer your question, probably the convention will be a couple days on the beach.
See, I knew the answer to that, but I'm setting you up here so you can complain about that.
No complaining at all. Yeah, I'll figure it out. August, I think, will be take a week, regroup. Like Boo said in his meeting, got to take a couple weeks, regroup.
Well, that's
I'm going to go with that model.
Where do you think I got recharged the batteries?
Yeah, he had a good point.
I hope you can do it sometime. But now, I'm sure you're not going to call it a vacation, but you were at some NWCA meetings recently, and you're still a president, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Not sure what kind of power that has.
Manheim, PA.
Okay.
I think it was still snowing up there.
We'll see if any good presidential pardons or whatnot comes down, but anything newsworthy come out? Are there any changes for the upcoming season? Any proposed down the lines? What were you guys talking about this year?
There's a lot of talk going on right now with one semester sport. I think that's a big part of moving the season a little bit to where we can fall under one whole semester of competition. So that I think that's the biggest push right now. There's some talk of a recruiting calendar and just how the whole dynamic's going to work with duels, All-Star Classic, if we're going to get that back in. A lot of really good ideas, and really it's just a platform for ideas and implementing the voices of what people want. And that's what we're trying to do, is kind of evolve a little bit as a sport, keep growing. But there has been a lot of additions to NAIA D3 programs right now. A lot of growth, and in women's wrestling too.
Any growth about a warm spot for the NCAA championships?
I think Charlotte would be a really good spot right now. Charlotte, how would that work for you?
That's a long commute. You have to get me a hotel.
You can commute.
But so that spring semester comes to an end recently, and pretty solid year for the Wolfpack in the classroom. 3 Scholar All-Americans, 4 All-ACCE academic team members. You guys had a perfect APR, a team GPA of over 3.0, and that included some 4.0s in there. And 7 members of last year's squad earned their degrees. With so many freshmen on this year's team, you have to be proud of the entire squad's work in the classroom this past season.
Yeah, I mean, that's, everybody gets to see our work when we're out on the mat, but that's something that we've really pushed hard here, and our staff has done a phenomenal job. The support that we get all the way through with the academic support and the administration, I think it sets these guys up for success, and they've been extremely motivated. But yeah, having a lot of freshmen this year was a little bit of a challenge that first semester, and it's just seeing how guys respond. And a lot of them came in and set the bar really high, which I do like, is a lot of guys returning have really good academic backgrounds, and have really, our ultimate goal is to stay above that 3.0 benchmark, and these guys have been doing it. We still haven't cracked the top 25 academically, but that I think is in play for next year with what we have with our guys. Looking forward to a couple of those guys that have a 4.0. You mentioned it. there are probably guys that are winning on the map as well.
Now, we're taping this podcast in very early June. What does this month look like for the guys that are going to be members of your team the upcoming season?
So right now we're on a cycle of training. This week is off, actually. A lot of them were training all the way up from the trials. A lot of them were helping other guys get ready. So it was a team effort to just get everybody on a cycle of training where if someone's competing, the whole team's here behind them. We've been able to accomplish that. Nick's getting ready to go up to Final X. So this was a week. Guys are home regrouping, and we'll come back. Incoming freshmen will be here in a couple weeks as well. So this is a really good time to focus on summer school because the majority of our guys are in summer school. And then as well to get some off-season workouts and a lot of lifting and some technical things that we're trying to get better at.
And you just mentioned it, couple of weeks, freshman move-in day is going to happen later in June. And we know you're not a fan of putting in manual labor and moving boxes yourself, but
you're crazy. I just cut my lawn yesterday.
Yeah, you'll do your stuff, but you're not going to help these.
What did you see all the boxes I just brought in, the new bikes? Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Back to my question. How exciting is it every summer you get a new crop of freshmen, you get to integrate them into your squad, and you get to do it without classes going on, without real structure. You guys have them get what you need done.
I think it's a great thing for these guys to come in. It gives them basically 6 weeks to get their feet on the ground here and know who's who and what's what. They can go around campus, figure out where all the buildings are and how to commute with the bus line and different things like that. And more than anything, they get to hang out with the guys on the team, understand the culture that we're trying to keep in place here and keep tweaking some things. And these guys are a huge part of that. And they bring new energy. You get to this time of year, it's great to have new energy, and that's what these guys will do. We got a really good group of freshmen coming in, and I'm sure some of the returners are looking forward to some new guys in the room to train with.
And from my count, it looks like 9 new freshmen, and you're mixed in last year's recruiting class, 14 newcomers last fall. And this is going to be an awfully young team. Are the summer workouts the time where new leaders need to step up and other members of your squad find their voice?
Yeah, and we're seeing that now because you've taken away guys maybe were here in the program for 5 years aren't in our room anymore. So it's a weird transition. You're used to going in there and you see guys like Sean Fawes in there all the time, and now he's obviously not in the room. He was up until a little while ago, but it's just different when you have those guys that have been around and kind of know how things work. And then you got new guys, when we're in workouts and new guys are saying some things, pushing some other guys, I think that's critical. And, any freshman that comes in, I think at first it could be a little overwhelming, and we're going to see that. And then they'll get their kind of feet on the ground here, and you're going to see guys right away want to step up and be leaders. So, yeah, it'll be a good time for all that to come and play.
One voice we still hear quite often, mostly on social media, 2-time Wolfpack National Champion Nick Gwizdowski. He's going to be back in action this weekend at Final X, vying for a spot on the U.S. World Team once again. Now, Nick was in action back in April, taking home top honors at the Pan American Championships with 4 tech falls and outscoring his foes 41-1 and winning the gold down there. How has Nick's training been leading up to Final X this year?
He's looked sharp. Him and Obi are in there every day. He's got some of the best training partners in the world right here. And these guys have all been pushing him. So, yeah, he's looked really good. His conditioning obviously has jumped up this time. He's in a great training phase, and looking forward to this matchup he's got coming up. But I know those guys have put a lot of time and energy into keeping things rolling and being at his best. And I like it because it's been a team effort. Nick's obviously doing the body of work himself, but he's being pushed with the guys that are right here in this room training, and Obi's done a phenomenal job, and Donnie and Adam as well have been jumping right in there.
Foot race, Papalizio, Gwizdowski. Who has it, the 100 meters?
Oh, come on. You've seen Gwiz when he's running. He hates running. I'll take that all day long. Well, as long as we don't have to have physical contact, no problem.
Okay.
I'll take that challenge.
I was going to give him the 100 meters. I was going to give you the mile.
I definitely
You're more the distance guy.
I'm a little more distance guy.
Okay.
But I don't know. Nick, yeah, he's actually pretty fast when it comes to that. I know he hates running, so I know that's one of his weaknesses is getting him out of that track. He probably still hates me from preseason, but it's all good.
Now, Final X, it's a best-of-3 championship series, and Nick will be up at Rutgers Saturday, June 8th, to face Minnesota's Gable Steveson, who won the World Team Trials here in Raleigh, getting the best of Adam Kuhn. And it's a bit different situation for Nick. Since he graduated from NC State, he's sort of been that younger guy trying to knock off some veteran U.S. wrestlers at 125 kilos. But here you have Steveson. He's one of the top recruits. He finished third at NCAAs. He was a true freshman last year. How has Nick approached this year's Final X in those regards to now the younger guys are coming after his spot?
Yeah, he's a smart guy, and he's done a lot of things to better himself as an athlete. And the mental side of it, obviously the technical side, he continues to work. But I think the biggest growth that I've seen him is becoming a professional. And, he puts this and knows it is a job, and he's worked extremely hard. He's matured a ton, and he's a guy that can analyze the situation, and he knows, that definitely as time goes on, your role switches a little bit, and he has that experience. He's got to use that to his advantage, and no doubt about it, he's got a good, young, talented kid, which I think is good for him. It's obviously gonna make him better, and you want that. His goal is to win a world title, so this is part of the process for him.
I briefly mentioned those World Team Trials, which of course were in Raleigh a few weeks back, and I'm very biased, but I heard a lot of opinions. Really seemed like it was a successful event hosted by NC State. I think you logged a few hours inside that gym, saw you in the hospitality area a few times, but what was the feedback you got from NC State hosting the World Team Trials?
It was good. I think it was a good change of scenery for our sport. We've been historically going to a lot of the same places, so to bring it down here I thought was good for wrestling, and I think our whole support staff did a phenomenal job hosting a very good event, and obviously we were very appreciative to everybody involved with USA Wrestling and allowing us this opportunity, so that part was big. But yeah, I'm glad you got your food in the hospitality room. I saw you up there at least 7 out of the 8 hours. That's where you're doing your work from. So that was good.
Have to keep hydrated.
Yep. So no, it was good. And, it was a little more obviously relaxed setting than probably a college dual meet or tournament for us college coaches. You got a couple guys competing there. It's not, those guys are mature and they can kind of take care of themselves in a lot of ways. So it's not as hands-on for coaching. And it was nice to have our guys right in their home gym competing. Got probably some guys that you never thought you'd see wrestle in Reynolds again. So it was good.
I was going to say, Tommy Gant got to wrestle back here. He didn't wrestle when it was renovated.
Yep.
I think he was really surprised, and he really enjoyed himself.
Great arena for wrestling, and it was perfect setup for the mats. And I think people that were watching, obviously, there wasn't a bad seat in this arena.
I would say I would like to see everything up on a stage.
I agree. We could push for that next year. We got to you got to get that donation.
I was going to say, you're a good fundraiser.
Or sponsorship. Yeah.
Speaking of which, any talk about future events like this in Raleigh?
I think it's one of those when the year ends, they'll probably review it, and I'm sure we'll have the opportunity to bid on it again. And, it comes down to how many people showed up and the numbers. And I think we're sitting good for first year doing this event. I think we were in a good spot. So yeah, I would love to be able to host it down here every so often. I think it's just good for wrestling. And obviously, like you said, we're a little biased because it is our home gym, but it is, I think, a beautiful arena.
And I ask you every year before we release it, and every year you artfully dodge my question by not giving any answers. How's the schedule taking shape? What can you share? Any hints?
It's going good. It's very challenging right now because a lot of the conferences haven't been able to release their conference schedules. So, for example, the Big Ten hasn't released anything, so it's hard to schedule certain teams when you know that the schedule won't come out till August. So we're kind of stuck with that right now. But I will say we're going to add a few more tournaments next year. I know you're a big Vegas guy, so we're going to throw Vegas in there.
I've been begging for you guys to go to this tournament for like 4 years now, so I'm glad it might happen.
Vegas, and we'll probably hit one more holiday tournament as well, whether it's South Beach Duels or Scuffle or Midlands. We're still kind of playing that out. We'll hit the East Coast, the Northeast, should I say, a little bit. Looking like we're going to head up to my old stomping grounds, Binghamton and Cornell, hopefully for a weekend up there. I know that's in play. So yeah, the schedule is going to be a lot different this year, and it's time. Every year you kind of analyzed where you're at with the roster and team. We're going to have a young team, so we want to get a lot of matches. The goal next year would be to probably get close to 40 matches for every guy in our lineup, and that's something that's different from years past.
I was going to say, with so many red shirts last year, you have to see what these guys are going to do on the mat in college, so it's probably important to go to more tournaments, couple duels on weekends and more matches overall.
I think we're going to have a little less duels next year, but guys individually are going to have a lot more matches. So the goal is to finish out the season with probably right up 40 matches. And we have that kind of team next year, so that's kind of why we can amp that up a little bit more.
Gonna get you out here on this. You had 2 members of the current team in the junior world team trials. Jarrett Trombley placed 3rd. Trent Hidlay won his weight class, and he's now advanced to represent the U.S. at the junior world championships in August. And big get for the podcast. Trent Hidlay is going to be the guest. I know all of Wolfpack Nation was excited, and they're going to see him in the red and white singlet next year. But how big of an achievement was it for him to earn this spot on the world team? And how is this going to give him confidence going forward into his first collegiate season?
It's great. It's rewarding when you see guys work to the level that Trent's been able to do. It's extremely rewarding for somebody like him to go out and get that win. Because I think in high school, he was right there on the cusp of winning national titles at big events and making world teams and didn't quite accomplish his goals. And now, he's made that jump in college. And I think he's around some of the best guys in the country to train with, and that's helped elevate his game. It doesn't hurt every day when you're in the freestyle room wrestling with Tommy Gant and Maki Velo and Timmy and, Renan when the school year. So he's got some of the best guys to roll with, and I think you're seeing that play out, the quality of workouts that he's been getting. And then you drop, it's tough when you're going through it, and we've talked a little bit. There were some days when you're wrestling with Tommy, Mock, and Timmy, some days you might not score a point if you're having a bad day. And then you drop down to your age bracket, which, Trent was very dominant in, and you see that, and you can see the jump, the level of competition from training to going out and competing to guys your age, and he's made a huge jump. And next year, people are going to be excited to watch him compete, the way that he wrestles and how much of a competitor he is, and I know he's going to elevate our program in a lot of ways with his leadership mentality and work ethic, something that we need a little bit of spark for next year, and that's going to add it, along with a couple other guys that we can talk about too.
Pat, it's always great to catch up. I think I speak for all of our listeners. We appreciate it when you're a guest on your own podcast. So Thanks for jumping on during the off season here.
I'm glad we could get you out and about summertime here and have you on our podcast as well. You do a phenomenal job.
Pat, enjoy your June. We'll catch up soon enough.
You got it. Thanks.
Now joining us on the Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast, first time guest, but second Hidlay, redshirt freshman Trent. Trent, glad to finally catch up. I'm sure it's been a whirlwind last few weeks with the U.S. Open, the World Team Trials, but thanks for jumping on the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really glad to be here.
Hayden told me how to pronounce your last name. How do you pronounce it?
It's Hidlay. Okay, and I think one of the kind of joke I tell people is that we kind of have 2 names, and like the Mifflin County hometown, we're Hidlay, and the wrestling community, we're Hidlay, or what, whatever people pronounce is kind of funny.
I was going to say, please, make fun of national media for mispronouncing your names every time, but it is Hidlay. So lots to dive into this episode. We're going to talk some NC State wrestling, some European geography, and finally getting you were able to wrestle in Reynolds Coliseum just recently. But right off the bat, first time on the podcast, question everybody wants answered on Twitter, your Hoagie boy, Hidlay. I'm sure a lot of fans saw the Hoagie celebration back when you were in high school, but take us back. How did you adapt the Hoagie boy nickname?
I think going back to, I'd say it was my sophomore into junior year. I think Hayden and I on the weekends would go to our sub shop in downtown Lewistown called the Southside Hoagie Shop. And, we were always big fans, and just kind of turned into like a weekly event that, I don't know, we just started messing around with, and people liked it. So we developed the Hoagie Club on the weekends, and it got a little strange, but we kept on it. And then who's number one? I figured if I won, I might as well do something fun. So I had my buddy Jarrett Lane, who actually wrestles at Lehigh now, throw me the Hoagie, and I took a bite, and it was a hit. So that kind of grew from there.
But at who's number one, what kind of Hoagie was it?
It was Firehouse Subs. I think it was actually like a roast beef, which isn't my go-to. I usually am a turkey and cheese guy, but we the Flow Wrestling guys got us hoagies for lunch that day, and I asked if I could take an extra one, and they obviously let me. So, but it was a roast beef one. But yeah, like I said, I've actually gotten this question a few times on my Twitter direct messages, or what's your go-to hoagie? It's dive into it. It's turkey and cheese, preferably pepper jack, always lettuce, tomato, maybe onion, some mayo and oil, and make sure the bread's good.
But you're killing me. That was going to be my question. I saw you and Hayden did a top 5 when you guys were driving up recently from Memorial Day. I hope you were driving. Is that or
yeah?
Okay.
We always made sure the passenger was
because
talking.
So on Hayden's Twitter, you guys did top 5, but I did not see your top 5 hoagies of all time.
That was one that we threw around there. We were going to do it, but we ran out of ideas and we started running with other stuff.
Now, was it a snake draft or was it a schoolyard pick?
It was a snake. It was a snake draft.
Well, we're going to do it right now. Okay.
Okay.
I know you're the guest on the podcast, but I have to get first pick. Italian. I'm going straight Italian hoagie. Okay. Number 1 overall draft pick.
Yeah, I think Italian's a good bet. I guess second, I would just go with turkey and cheese.
Okay. What's your third? You get the third in the snake.
Give me just kind of. I'll go hot. I'll go hot for this one. I'll go cheesesteak.
Now, aren't all hoagies hot?
No. I think.
I disagree with that.
Okay. I mean, there's lots of controversy. I think you can debate on what are hoagies. I put hot and cold under hoagies. Okay. But I can see where there can definitely be some differing opinions with the hot and cold. But I'll go cheesesteak.
Cheesesteak. Okay. So my next pick, got to go chicken parm. Okay. Right after that, hot sausage. Okay. I can only do 3. That's about my 3.
They're all good.
So, you said you were from Lewistown. That's about in the middle of Pennsylvania. I'm from Pittsburgh. I was a little disappointed when I moved down here about the hoagie selection in Raleigh.
Yeah.
So you're agreeing with me.
Yeah. I have found some good spots. So I think a Subconscious is a place that I've gone to, and I think it's pretty good. Not the best hoagies in the world, but they'll do. And Jersey Mike's is a good chain. Okay. Jimmy John's.
I was going to say any non. It seemed back up north there were a lot of non-chains.
Yeah, definitely a lot more non-chains in Northeast. Okay. Of the United States, but I think Subconscious is the one place that isn't a change that people probably don't know, but it's pretty good. I like going there. I think they have good bread, and I've always been satisfied when I've gone there.
And I'll let you get some plugs in. Hopefully, these places they can be future sponsors. What are some of your go-to places back home?
Like I said earlier, the Southside Hoagie Shop. Shout out to them. We always go there. We love it there. Whitehall Hoagies is a hometown favorite. I mean, there's so many other places. Lewistown is really good for hoagies, that's for sure.
Growing up, hoagie, did you have to get a slice of pizza with the hoagie, or are you straight hoagie?
Yeah, I can eat pizza with it. Sometimes if they're big enough, I'll just stick with that, but or maybe I'll go half a hoagie and a slice of pizza or something like that. But yeah, I can switch it up. I'm not a picky eater, so whatever you put in front of me, I'll probably eat it.
I was going to say, we talked a lot about hoagies. Great segue here. Speaking of being hungry, you moved up weight classes during your redshirt season, started at 174, but the final 2 were at 184. What went into that decision? Yeah,
I think I sat down with the coaches and Pat and, just came to the idea that we're going to move up in weight a little bit to finish out the year and meet with the strength coach, Sam Craven. He's been really good for me and helped me a lot with, moving up weight classes, and also the nutritionist. Met with him and figured out some diet things that I got to work on, and that's been a little bit of an adjustment for me, but it's a good learning process, and I'm all committed to it. But yeah, just sat down with Pat and the coaches, and I think it's a good weight class for me with my body type and how I wrestle, and I agree, and gave it a shot, did a few open tournaments, and I felt good there. Definitely a little bit of adjustment at first, but the experiences I get in the practice room helped me with that, and being able to work with the RTC a lot these last few months has helped me move up in weight class and deal with bigger and stronger guys. I mean, I'm wrestling with Mike Machiavello, Tommy Gant, Timmy McCall, even Gwiz sometimes, and they're really helpful to give me that elite feel and strong feel. So it's something that I've adjusted into, and I'm still working on it, and still trying to put on some weight and some muscle to get ready for next year.
What did the nutritionist think about all the salted gourd meats that you?
I don't know. He's funny. I our nutritionist Jared Long, and he's really good. But it is more just kind of break down what I can, like a daily plan for me, and proteins I can use and different type of supplements I can utilize. But I won't ever get away from the solid meats.
It's early. What weight are you thinking about for the next college season?
184 will be the weight. I think right now with our lineup, we have what people call is a good problem, where we have so many good guys. But that'll get adjusted, and like you said, there's a lot of time. So our lineup will get situated, and we're going to make a run for it.
You came to NC State with a lot of accolades, probably wrestled nonstop since you were a little kid. How tough was it to redshirt this past season and not compete in those duels?
It was definitely different for me. I think I've actually had the advantage a little bit of being able to see someone close to me do that when Hayden did that his freshman year. I know he struggled a little bit his freshman year going through the redshirt process, and kind of being able to have him here and talk me through a few of those things, and the other guys on the team that have redshirted before me and the rest of the freshman class. I think that helped a lot, just giving us little points and tips and how to get through the season, really. But yeah, it's tough. Like you said, I wrestled so much, especially the last 5 or 6 years. Always going to a lot of summer tournaments and spring stuff. But it's tough. You want to be with the team and on the big stage and in front of Reynolds Coliseum with all the fans there, and it's just not your time yet. So you gotta hold your horses a little bit. And one of the big things that goes along with redshirting that a lot of people probably don't realize is being there for the starters towards the end of the year. And that was a role that I had to take on. And whether that was working out with anyone from the Bullards to Renan to Malik McDonald, or cheering the guys on during the assault bike workouts, that's a big role. And I think that's something the coaches do a really good job with, is making sure we understand what our role is towards the end of the season, is to help those guys out. So if you need to go to the RTC practices later on that day to get your workout in, that's what you might have to do.
I was going to say, you were still a big feature at many of the matches last season, both home and on the road, cheering on the Wolfpack. I know it's different. Usually for a duel, you're getting focused, you're preparing yourself, but you had some fun. You were probably you felt like a big cheerleader. You had that rally towel going. Did you get a little bit different perspective to college wrestling, where you were able to watch and enjoy, but also see some of the nuances?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm really grateful to be able to those experiences, because it's something you don't really think about. When you think about wrestling, you're just thinking about yourself. You're going out there, you're competing, but being able to kind of sit back and look at how other people compete, how other teams compete, and just kind of how the tournaments go in college wrestling was really important for me, because I think I learned a lot about that. I think I learned a lot about specific situations I saw that I know I could improve on, that I might not think about when I'm wrestling. But yeah, being able to go through the end of that year and seeing the postseason and kind of see how things work, I think is really helpful to me, because I'll have that experience for next year to kind of lean back and look at that. And I've seen it before, so it won't be too much of a shock.
And what everybody's been talking about lately is your performance in freestyle so far this offseason. And it's resulted with a spot on the national team for the Junior World Championships later in August. And we're going to talk about the victory at the World Team Trials shortly. But one thing, if you watch your matches back, the announcers always talk about the Hidlay underhook. Can you describe that for us?
Yeah, I think obviously the underhook far knee pick is something I do almost every match, and it's what I look for a lot. I don't really know. It's kind of hard. People ask me, they'll ask me how I hit it or kind of show it. And to be honest with you, it's really hard for me to show it or to instruct it to somebody, because it's not really a natural move, really. It's something that, growing up in high school, Hayden used underhooks a lot, and wrestling with him and being on the same team, I kind of developed that feel too. And what really ended up happening is that I used to dive into underhooks, and it was wrong for so long. But I kept doing it, and I found a way to make it work for me. And it's really kind of a personal move. So I think it's hard for other people to emulate it. But I mean, it's obviously a lot of people use underhooks and go to the far knee, but it's kind of an out of space kind of blast through double, and it works for me. I've ran into situations where people have scored points off of it. And so I'm still working on that with coaches to, kind of tweak a few things and make it even better. But yeah, it's kind of my MO, and it's what I'm known for. But I like it. So as long as it works, I'm going to keep doing it.
And your spring started out in Las Vegas. You took top honors at the UWW Junior Nationals at 86 kilos. You came in as the 3 seed, but you went 5-0, outscored your foes 42-6. And that was one heck of a bracket. There were a lot of big time recruits that you had to beat, yourself included. But going up a weight class out in Vegas, how was the feeling coming back to Raleigh with that stop sign?
It was really exciting. It was a great tournament for me. It was something that I knew I could win, and it was something that I had circled on my calendar for a long time. I think I sat down with Obi the week before, or Obi Blanc, of course, our coach, and just kind of sat down with him, and we talked about, going into it and just winning, just not worrying about what's going on, just focus on what I'm going to do. And he believed that, if I wrestled the way I do, I'm going to win, and I believe that too. So that was really helpful for me, being able to have that confidence going into the tournament and having a game plan ready to win. And I think another thing that really helped me was just overall confidence in myself. I met with sports psych a few times before that, and I think there's kind of a, I don't think a lot of people know really what sports psych is, or they have different opinions on it, but I know personally it's helped me a lot, just dealing with, personal, confidence or competing to the best of my ability. And I think that helped me a lot going into that tournament. And because I think the way I competed, I haven't competed like that in a long time against really good competition. So I think any little edge I can get that makes my competition the best I can is I'm going to take it. And I was really proud of the way I wrestled. And it was a short turnaround. I had a little bit of time to get ready for the World Team Trials, and it was awesome that it was here in Reynolds. So I sat down with the coaches, analyzed some film, and we worked on a few things and got ready for the trials.
I know we're talking about freestyle, but jump off one thing. You've already mentioned strength and conditioning, sports psych, sports nutrition, academic people here are a big help to you. Did you know going through the college process that all this stuff was available to you as an athlete, and how much has it helped you in your first year here?
Yeah, I think I'm really blessed, or we're really blessed here on the NC State team with all these different coaches and different assets that we can utilize. And it's always, whenever you're being recruited, those things are pitched to you, but you don't really get the feel of it until you're on the team, you're in the season, and you might need to go see the sports psychologist or the nutritionist, and having those available to us is really special to me. A few of our coaches, Adam Hall, Obi, all these guys have said to us many times to use these things, because they wish back in college they had what we did. So that really spoke out to me, and I take advantage of all the things we have here available to us, and I think that's really helped me this year grow and learn just about different things in the sport, and find those little mental edges or physical edges that will help me win.
So with that win in Vegas, that advanced you past the challenge tournament, the World Team Trials, and here in Raleigh, you sat in the best 2 or 3 finals. You faced a familiar foe, Virginia's Victor Marcelli. You two are probably going to be seeing a lot of each other over these next 4 years, but both matches you came out on top, 12-7, then 11-4, but I don't know, it might be a touchy subject. He hit a couple 4-point moves, both right off the bat against you. How do you, long matches, but how do you stay focused? How did you regroup knowing that you had a game plan, but he put up 4s on you really early both times? Yeah,
I definitely faced some adversity early in those matches, and I think I let the nerves get to me a little bit. Competing in Reynolds for the first time was really exciting, and having the crowd behind me cheering, I definitely got really excited and maybe a little bit too excited. But I think settling in and responding to that adversity is something that I have improved on a lot since I've been here. I think in high school I got easily flustered, and a lot of the matches I would lose was because I would give up points early and try to do too much and put myself in a hole. But I think going through the situations that we do in the practice room and everything the coaches expose us to, I'm confident that I was really ready for anything that I was going to see. And, if you ever come in and watch practice, I give up a lot of points, and being able to respond to those situations and giving up points early is something I've improved a lot on. And when it happened in the match, I just took a deep breath and just kept doing what I do best. And I clawed my way back, and, I started hitting my stuff and hit a groove, and I just kept it going.
Pat actually mentioned that earlier in the podcast. He says when you're in there, Wolfpack Wrestling Club, you got Tommy Gant, you got Mock, you got Timmy McCall. He said some days, honestly, Trent's not scoring that much.
Yeah.
I know you want to go in, you want to win everything, but does that help you sometimes when you have these kind of training partners that they're going to be scoring on you? They might be better than you than that day to face that adversity.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I owe a lot to those guys because I know, I go through all these practices. I get beat up a lot, but I know that when I step on the mat against the guys I'm going to be wrestling, that there's nothing I haven't seen before that I'll see. And I won't wrestle anybody better than those guys, really. So I know I'm prepared, and I scrap. I mean, a lot of people don't see it. People don't see the practices where, I might lose 2 matches in a day. People don't see me not getting any points. But I know those situations and those practices are what make me better. So it's a learning curve, but at the same time, the guys are supportive enough to pick me up when I need it and help me out when I need it. So they've been really big for me, and just being prepared and confident going to my matches has helped me out a lot.
And at those World Team Trials, you won both your matches. You have made your first World Team. What was that feeling afterwards?
It was awesome. I said it. They interviewed me after, and making a World Team was something that I've always wanted to do. I've always kind of been in the tournaments. I remember the one year at Cadets, I had a pretty good tournament. I got 3rd, but just never really been able to put it together. And to be the number 1 guy at that spot is really special to me. And it's just a lot of hard work that's been put into it. So it's good to see it pay off. And to be able to do it in Reynolds was super special because I know I had a really big fan base there, and it was awesome. And the time went out to look up and see everybody cheering that was awesome.
And with the World Team Trials win, you earned your spot on the U.S. national team for the 2019 Junior World Championships. They're going to take place in mid-August in Estonia. Now, you had a perfect 4.0 this past school year, so we're going to put it to the test. Did you know where Estonia was before you had to look it up on a map?
I knew it was in Europe. I didn't know the geographical location of it. I did a little bit of research on it. It's like Estonia is a pretty small country in the northeast area of Europe, and it's right on the border of the Baltic Sea. So I'm really excited to go there. I know there will probably be some great sites, and it'll be a great place to visit. So I might have to do a little bit more research on their history, but definitely would be a cool place.
Hayden was here. He went overseas last year. You didn't go with him, I assume. Have you been to Europe, or is this your first time?
No, this will actually be my first time ever leaving the country. So that'll definitely be a new experience for me, but I'm sure I'll be ready for it.
I hope you get your passport pretty quick.
Yeah, no, I have a passport.
Okay. But that tournament, it falls before the start of the season. Your brother Hayden had to miss a couple of weeks last season at the U23s, but how exciting is it for you to know that this summer you're training for the World Championships? It's
almost surreal, honestly, to think about me going overseas and competing to be the best in the world is like I said, something I've always wanted to do. But now that I have the opportunity to do it, it's almost like a little bit of shock. But I know I'm going to be prepared for it. I have a lot of trust in OB and the RTC guys and the coaching staff. They're gonna have a plan for me, and I'm going to be ready for it. I think going into this tournament, anything less than a medal or being a world champion is going to be a failure to me and a disappointment. So, I'm happy that I'm going there, but now the goal is to win the whole thing. And like I said, I trust in the coaches that they're going to have me ready for it. And, having Hayden going through that experience and, it's kind of it's a tough time coming back and starting a regular season again, not as close to the regular season as the U23s were last year, but I think that'll be a big thing for me is being able to come back and get back into the regular season and being excited for it. So I know they'll have a good plan for me, and just enjoying the summer, enjoying the training I get to have at the OTC in Colorado. That'll be new for me, and just soaking up all the information I need and learning a lot of things that are gonna help me win the whole thing. And our fans, they've gotten to see you in freestyle very recently, including Reynolds, but probably not too many have seen you wrestle folk style, which college wrestling is. Can you describe the type of wrestler you are? I guess, what is your style? What can fans expect to see once you hit the mat for NC State? I think what you saw in freestyle it's pretty similar to how I wrestle in folk style. I don't like giving up points. I don't give up a lot of points. I like scoring early, like controlling the center of the mat, and I live for the big moments too. The bigger the matches, the bigger the competitor, that's the more exciting for me. And I just can't wait for this season to get here. I know we have a lot of good duels coming up, and the tournaments are going to be great. So I'm going to be the new guy in town, but I expect myself to win it, and I expect myself to be a good contributing part of this team, and I think we have a really good team coming back. So there's going to be a lot of expected out of me, and I'm ready for that. I think pressure is something that I do really well with, and like I said, I'm really excited for it, and how I wrestle freestyle is a lot how I wrestle folk style. So yeah.
Takedowns or turns? What do you enjoy more in folk style?
I'd say takedowns. I think top work is something that I actually sat down with the coaches, and that's something I need to focus on a lot leading up to the next season, because I think being able to ride and get turns is crucial in college wrestling now with the 4-point near fall. But I definitely feel comfortable in neutral. I'm trying to working a lot on expanding my offense. The coaches have done a great job with me. Expanding the different positions and different tie-ups that I can use to get to my underhook or set up different shots, and I'm always learning, and every day I go into the room I learn something new. So just taking advantage of everything people have to offer me, and just soaking up all the information to make sure I'm ready to go next year.
And lastly, we're going to touch on academics, so more very impressive stats. You finished your high school with a perfect 4.0 GPA and came right into NC State and maintained that level. You had a 4.0 as a freshman this whole year. How important are academics to yourself? And looking ahead a little bit, what type of field of study do you see yourself pursuing?
Yeah, academics is something I take seriously. I think the biggest thing about being a leader is not only performing in the sport you play or the whatever you're talking about, but being able to take care of the little things. Being on top of your schoolwork, making sure you're there for all your meetings, communicating with teachers, I think is a big thing. And I think those are all things that led to me, getting good grades, and just being really disciplined with my study schedule and getting my work done is something I was really proud of this year. And the coaches really preach it a lot. They really stress academics here, and if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, you're going to get called out for it. And I think I wanted to be a leader in the classroom and also on the mat. And I think a 4.0 is something I'm really proud of, and I just want to keep doing that because the feeling's good, and I don't want to let it slip.
Any major declared yet? Anything you're thinking about?
Yeah, I'm in the business major. I took accounting last semester, and I actually really enjoyed that. So that might be a possible future for me. I'm good with numbers, so hopefully something in accounting in the business field. Maybe something else. I'm still keeping my options open and taking interesting classes until I kind of find what I love.
Pat loves numbers, guys. You fit right in.
Yeah.
But Trent, it was fun to have you on the podcast. Enjoy the rest of your summer. I'm sure there'll be just hours of training in the mat room here at NC State, but good luck going for gold at the Junior World Championships in August.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I want to thank everybody for listening today. This is your Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast covering all things NC State wrestling. Until next time, Wolfpack Wrestling fans, go Pack.
Mentality Pop-Ins podcast is produced by the Mat Talk Podcast Network. For more wrestling podcasts, go to mattalkonline.com.